Okay, folks, welcome to a Monday night Futures Live. Usually we do it Sunday night, but given President's Day, happy President's Day to everyone. Happy Washington's birthday. We're doing Monday night Futures Live. So tonight, I guess it's fitting that we did wait and we are live now because I have to be honest with you. For the first time in a long, long time, I'm very, very concerned about geopolitical events. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've been as concerned ever before, and I'm going to go over them tonight. And believe it or not, Ukraine is, not the biggest concern that I have. So let's talk about the markets. The markets were open today in the futures market, obviously closed. New York Stock Exchange, Nasdaq, they were all closed, but the futures market was open. And initially this morning, the futures were up. Macron and Putin had spoken. There were some positive headlines, and that didn't last long. Fast forward, and futures were red. They closed down 1.24%. Now we have the futures reopened. We have gap down. We are down. We're nearly down 2%. Now, this is all due to the Ukraine crisis. So I'll show you a chart in a moment, which, if you've been listening to me, you should have a good supply of cash on the sidelines. You should be looking at this as an opportunity to take advantage of this sell-off. And I'm going to go to some charts in a moment to illustrate what I'm talking about. So the S&Ps are down 1.8%. It's probably going to get a bit worse. This is a good thing. If you're looking for a short-term bottom in the market, this is a good thing. So let's go to comments. So, hello to everybody, and I'll answer questions. Eric, hey brother. I did have a good weekend. Thank you. Hope you had the same. Lois, same to you. Happy President's Day. Seymour Rivers, hey brother. Good to have you. Okay, so people slowly filtering in. All right, let's go through some other indexes. The mid caps are down 1.77%. The Russell 2000 down another 2%. I had every intention of going short the market, even more than we are right now, going into the new trading week. Looks like that's an opportunity that I'm not going to be able to take advantage of. Maybe on a counter trend move, but dang. Where's my NASDAQ? NASDAQ 100. Wow. Down over 2.75%. Wow. I'm just absorbing this. Wow. Let's go to the dollar. The dollar is doing as you would expect. It's rising. Flight to quality. Gold also ripping up higher here. So what's happening here, and I'm going to kind of warn against chasing gold. What's happening here is that when you have times of geopolitical risk, the dollar and gold will trade in tandem. Usually they do not. There's usually a drastic inverse correlation. So the minute that there's an agreement of any type and the tensions come off, you're going to see gold in particular probably come in quite a bit. Now, I'm going to go to reasons why that might not happen, because we may have a replacement geopolitical event to be concerned about. But gold ripping here along with the US dollar makes sense. Let's check out Bitcoin. Bitcoin was up earlier in the day and then it rolled over. Bitcoin now at 37.6. This is a 30-minute chart. We'll drill down to a 15-minute chart. Now, keep in mind, Bitcoin buyers, the correlation between the risk stocks, growth stocks, is very, very high. So notice how you're not seeing a flight to quality into Bitcoin. So for those who say that Bitcoin is the new gold, I always kind of mock that. This is a classic case of when Bitcoin is not the new gold. It's just simply not, yet anyway. So Bitcoin getting rocked here. I would not buy it. I have a 29,000 price target on Bitcoin. If I remember, I'll tell you a little bit more about why I'm bearish on Bitcoin in a little while. I have a chart ready to go. Oil's got to be ripping. Yep. Light sweet crude, 93 the barrel. It's going up higher. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. Weekly chart. We're going up. We're going up. Copper, weekly chart. No breakout. Nikkei selling off. It's a Japanese stock exchange, 1.64%. I clicked that by accident. What I wanted to take a look at was the natural gas price, and it is moving high by 9%. Let's go to a 30-minute chart. Oh my God. Let's go to some comments. Bob, all the big gurus are predicting sub 18K for the coin. You know, you ever hear the saying, never let a crisis go to waste? You know, the banks use that as well. So the banks want a bigger position in Bitcoin. They're not going to pay retail. So if they can help knock it down, they'll certainly help do that, and they'll buy back in. So I think that, you know, it's so important. I preach this constantly. You got to have that dry gunpowder to take advantage of situations like this. That way you're not going through the day worried. In investing and trading, you can either be on your toes, meaning being on the offense, taking advantage, maneuvering, ducking and diving, or you can be on your heels, playing defensive, debating about whether or not you should stop out, The fact that you didn't stop out, you're beating yourself up. And the last thing you're thinking about is being strategic. You're just beating yourself up. So we try very, very carefully to maintain a market neutral approach at the Contrarian Trader. So if you're not currently a member, you want to know how to trade like us, 14-day free trial offer, use the link below. Join us. Marathon Garysville caught fire this morning. Oh, Marathon Oil? 500. Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Danny. Thank you. Good information. Thank you for the share. That's what I do when I get mesmerized. Yeah, I do this. Top Gun, yeah. Bitcoin line of regression is around 25K. Okay, I'll buy into that. I was at 30K. I lowered it to 29. We'll revisit it. You know, it's just simply because it hits 29, it doesn't mean I'm going to go buying it. We're going to want to see consolidation. Right now, we're in the distribution phase, right? So you don't go from distribution to accumulation like that. That would be a V-shaped recovery, and I don't think we're going to get that on Bitcoin. We lightened up too. I was overweight. I had way too many shares of Nugget. So we did book some profits. I still have a bunch of shares, and we own the GDXJ, silver. I have plenty to take advantage of it. Don't beat yourself up, because what you may encounter right now is that FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. That is the enemy of any trader. So don't let it get to you. Because once this event is over, and it will be over, you're going to see the dollar come in. You're going to see gold come in, and that'll be your opportunity. If you want to take advantage of the rally in gold, the rally in the miners, think about selling naked puts below where you sold your shares last week, and that way, if they're assigned to you, well, you got in at a lower price than where you closed out. And you manage your that instinct of greed or FOMO. Just be careful. Be careful here. I've seen this way too many times with gold ripping with the dollar on geopolitical events. It doesn't end well. I'm a big gold bull, huge gold bull, but it's very volatile. We have to acknowledge that and trade accordingly. Not exactly great timing. I bought a bunch of energy pipeline stocks a couple of months ago. You should do well. I think you should do well. The only one that we had one that we sold. We booked a profit on it, and thank God we did. It was yielding a lot of money. I forget what the name of it was. If I think about it later on, I'll bring it up. But that thing dropped like a rock, not because of anything else other than a deal that they were trying to get pushed through, a merger, did not pan out, and they got killed. So the markets are being driven right now by the Ukraine. Silver ripping up 0.68%. Let's pull back. Let's go to the weekly chart. Look at this. Look at this. This is beautiful. We're getting ready to break out of a weekly base. It's trying to do it now. We're right there. We're flirting with a major breakout on silver. And we'll be looking to add more to our position at the back half of the week. We want to make sure that any breakout that's occurring right now holds. So In fact, I might even wait till next week, even if we do break out this week. Why? I want to see a pullback and a retest of what was or what is at current resistance. I want to see that act as support next week. Now, if the Ukraine issue is unresolved, I suspect that we will just continue up higher here. The VIX, we're about to sport a 30 handle on the VIX. So, while things look bleak right now, folks, I'm gonna reiterate that fear is a far greater motivator than what is greed, and the markets tend to take the escalator up and the elevator down. So, I would love to see VIX 35, VIX 40. We could get it. But as the old saying goes, when the VIX is low, you got to go. When the VIX is high, you got to buy. So that's why it's so important to have that cash on the sidelines to take advantage of it. Franklin, yes, thank you. It was bothering me. ETRN, yes. Thank you for that. Clydesdale. Oh, some dividend yielders. Okay, thanks for the share. I'm showing Dow futures down nearly 500 points. And we've been, yeah, that makes sense. They gap down. Yeah. And Q, talking about on the futures, the NASDAQ. We already went over those. We'll revisit them. It's worth it. Because I think that these are going to be the new market laggards. I'm going to go to a chart in a moment to explain that. They're trying to pick it back up now. I want to take a look at what bonds are doing. Let's go with the 10-year. Yeah, money's rotating into bonds. That means that yields are dropping right now. I'm going to go to a chart in a moment showing you why there may be a vicious counter trend rally back in the stock market in a few minutes. So for those that are with me on the PayPal trade, we should expect that $100 mark to get pierced tomorrow. And, we're probably going to be nibbling down below that mark. Once we get that bullish reversal bar and it close back above support, ideally the $100 per share mark, then we go in for the kill and buy aggressively. So be very, very patient with PayPal, but I think tomorrow is going to be the washout for PayPal and probably a bunch of other stocks as well. Facebook, Meta. Okay. We'll revisit this in a moment. Let's talk about events coming out this week. Tomorrow, Case-Shiller Home Price Index. Folks, new home starts, new housing starts are the highest since the 1970s. They're higher than 2006 when you had a peak in housing. And interest rates are going up eventually, short term, down. Manufacturing PMI, consumer confidence tomorrow, big number. Wednesday, nothing happening. GDP coming out on Thursday. Initial jobless claims Friday. The PCE inflation number. This is the Fed's favorite inflation number. Consumer spending. Some inflation data as well. 5-year inflation expectations. How could they even? Isn't it supposed to be transitory? They got that wrong. Okay, so in a semi-important week with economic data, but still the season is silly season. It's earnings season. So I plan on being involved with Palo Alto Networks. We've traded that one before, did well. I don't like these small companies at all for earnings trades. They're way too volatile. Square Block, this is now called. I will not trade Alibaba. I do not trade Chinese stocks at all. I believe them to be uninvestable. Coinbase, I don't know. I don't know if I'll trade Coinbase. I like Coinbase, but not the environment. We've got to be very, very careful in this market environment. So not a bunch of earnings trades coming up this week. The ones I'm seeing here, the Beyond Meats, Rocket Mortgage, they may come out with good numbers, but I think the reason why Rocket Mortgage, if they do announce good numbers, forward-looking guidance is probably going to be iffy because you're seeing a lot of people right now try to take advantage of the closing window of low interest rates. So their earnings may be good, guidance may disappoint. So I want to avoid these small names. All we care about this week is taking advantage of a very rare situation. That's a market that is in free fall due to geopolitical events. What the heck? My microphone just fell. Oh, and now I know why. Okay, my cord got wrapped up. Valuations. We're not that far off the recent highs, folks. We're still sporting a PE of over 35.5 versus the mean, which is at 16.92. So the S&P 500 remains very overvalued. The Buffett Indicator, this was not updated. That's strange. Somebody wasn't working. They haven't updated this since the 17th. Was that? Oh, that's accurate. Okay, we're right here. All right, this is the most current version. All right, so we remain strongly overvalued. Now, I'm sorry, overvalued, not strongly overvalued. 51% overpriced relative to the historical trend line. Now, the thing to remember here is that when you revert to the mean, which is this line here, usually you overshoot. So while we may be 51% overvalued, when we get this nasty correction, we're probably going to overshoot to the downside. All right, so I've been in this business. I remember I wasn't trading, but I remember the crash of 87. I was trading by 1990, 1991. So I've been around doing this for a long, long time. And never, ever have I seen the level of propaganda being pushed simultaneously around the globe, coordinated. Folks, we are at war right now. It's not with Russia. It's not with the Ukraine. We'll do a deeper dive in a minute. So this illustration here can be applied towards politics. It could be applied towards the financial markets. They want you to be afraid. In this case here, it's so that you comply. With the markets, they want you to sell. They want you out. That's why when the VIX is high, you got to buy, because you have to have that leap of faith that when you take a look at the long-term average for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you can go back 100 years, quarterly view. I mean, the bubbles that we've had, with the exception of the 29 Great Depression, were blips on the screen. So here is the COVID sell-off. Here is the financial crisis. Here is the dot-com bubble. So they want you to sell because they haven't been buying the recent rally up. How do we know they weren't buying? There was no volume. This is what I was teaching members. Don't buy this market. Institutions aren't buying it. If you're buying it, you're buying hope. You're not buying correctly. You're not waiting for that sell-off. And this is the beginning of that sell-off. And I'm not even saying that tomorrow, if we have a bloodbath, that's the ultimate bottom. I think we're going lower. Remember, this market is 51% overvalued relative to the historic norm. There's a lot of air down below that's got to get filled. So where is the fear coming from? Well, yeah, you have Putin. Putin orders peacekeeping operation in Ukraine's breakaway regions. What he's doing here is that he's not saying he's going to invade. What he's doing is this is classic Putin, is that he's recognizing certain areas which have been historically of Russian descent, going back centuries, Russian descent. And he's acknowledging them as individual entities. I don't know whether you'd say countries, but individual entities, and they have a Russian background, a Russian heritage, a culture, and he's going to protect it. So what he's doing is setting the stage for whatever government is formed in those regions, he's going to acknowledge. And one day, if the pressure is on those regions, they will invite him in. It won't be an invasion, it'll be an invitation. That's what I believe he's setting up for right now. Could be wrong. I'm not a specialist on this stuff, but I'm a student of history. I've seen how this guy works before, and he's no dope. What's the expected retaliation? Europe is preparing to impose sanctions on Russia. There's only one problem. That's a two-way street. Is there any wonder why this is happening in the middle of winter? Where do the Europeans get most of their natural gas from? You guessed it, Russia. And as typical, and this is why I always say, I may talk about politics. A pox on both their houses. We have a uniparty. It is, forget about the Democrats, Republicans. This is Lindsey Graham out there. Classic rhino. Where is it? I stand ready, willing, and able to work with the Biden administration. Of course you will, because you love every war. There is no war that's been fought that this guy hasn't liked. And then you take a look. There was another one that caught my eye earlier. Oh, it's laughable. The truth of the matter is the Russian economy is smaller than that of Italy. That is true. Overly dependent on oil and gas revenue. Perhaps. That is true. They're also the biggest producer of diamonds as well, and they could destroy the diamond industry in a second if they wanted to. And is both internally and externally weak. That is untrue. That is untrue. They have vast gold reserves. They've been focused on getting off the dollar for years now, along with the Chinese. The Russians have pairs of twos, while the West has a full house. The West is going to freeze. Western Europe is going to freeze when he turns off the oil and gas. Let's go to some comments. Why are people going to sell everything tomorrow versus 3 weeks ago just because of what is going on in Ukraine? U.S. is not being attacked. Biden shortages and inflation problems have been here a while. Exactly right. So what is this doing? What are we not talking about right now, right? We're the alternative media. You're not going to have this conversation on CNN or MSNBC and perhaps not even Fox. You're not going to have this conversation. And what I'm going to go to in a few minutes, I can guarantee you, you're not going to have this conversation on Fox News either. So what they don't want us talking about is inflation, shortages, President Biden, the elections, which are coming up very, very quickly. 30, at last count, 30 Democrats in the House will not seek re-election. They're retiring, thank God. My question is, why would they have nearly 3/4 of his military surrounding Ukraine if he also wants to recognize a couple of regions? And that's a very valid point. And I was talking to my son and my wife the other day about this. And I said, it doesn't make sense. If you're going to go to war and it could become a world war, you're the largest nation in the world. The second largest in Europe is Ukraine. You're talking about vast, vast territories to A, occupy, B, you have 70% of your military in the West, leaving your eastern flank vulnerable to attack. Why would you do that? I don't think, I could be wrong. I'm going to be humble. I don't think he's going to attack. I don't think he is. Something bigger at stake here. I think he fears an attack by the West. I think that what you're seeing, and I'm going to go to it in a moment. I've been teasing it. I'm going to get to it. What you're seeing in the West is utter collapse, and it's happening fast. They need a scapegoat. They have to have that scapegoat. It's going to be Vladimir Putin. It's been Vladimir Putin since 2016. Why would it change now? 25% of wheat, I believe, comes from Ukraine and Russia. Yeah, the Ukraine is the breadbasket of Russia. Always has been. And it's also where a lot of the energy comes from. That's why Hitler, I forget what battle it was, because he was running out of oil, because the Russians were on the move. And he made a detour down into the Ukraine to try to capture some oil fields, which failed. Global land grab, Ukraine, Taiwan, Palestine. Graham and McCain were cut from the same neocon cloth. Rubio too, yep. Russia versus Ukraine is a JV game. Wait till there you go. That's bingo. That's the varsity game. Love that. Love that. Danny, DAX crashed 500 points. So they're okay. That makes sense. They look like they were ready to go anyway. The AEX as well. Just a thought, can we vote during the war? Yes, you can. Okay. So that's Lindsey Graham. So, I was going to show this earlier, but you had Business Insider run by that piece of human waste, Henry Blodgett, who got in trouble for pumping stocks back in the dot-com bubble. One of the benefits of being around this long and having all this gray hair is that you remember the thugs when they were thugs, but now they're treated as if they're royalty. Henry Blodgett, Bloomberg, and the Wall Street Journal, supposedly the paper of record when it comes to finance, same exact headline, Putin sending troops into the Ukraine. Same exact headline. It's on Twitter. All right, so this is the performance. I'm not sure whether this is the S&P 500 or maybe they SPY, Trip Qs, IWM, and DIA. Maybe they mixed them all together here. I don't know. But here is what happens. Gulf of Tonkin, that was our reason to get into Vietnam hot and heavy. So you saw the market sell off, rallied. Gulf War I, market sold off, rallied. Afghanistan, this is not really a fair comparison. We did rally, but you got to remember, we were in the middle of the dot-com crisis, the blow-off. So that we were in a recession. So this is not really fair to use per se, but you did get a rally immediately thereafter. The invasion, Iraq war, big move up higher. Crimea, which is the most comparable to what we're seeing right now, right? Same area of the world, same party, same participants. What did the stock market do? Rally. Now, what Trader Isaac brought up earlier, I believe it was Trader Isaac, or maybe it was Jeff, brought up earlier, was that we're not talking about inflation. Inflation's still out there. The economy is slowing. So these are all, and the stock market's extremely expensive relative to these periods of time. The one time where it was still expensive was back here, and it kept selling off. So keep this in mind as these events unfold. Trust me, the big banks, institutions, they're going to be out there. They're going to be saying, okay, what are we buying? Warren Buffett, what are we buying? There's going to be value, or as I like to say, the phoenix will rise out of the ashes. You just got to find the phoenix first. So high growth, high beta growth is still dead. I would avoid it. The Trip Q names, I think, are in a lot of trouble. I think they're just beginning to roll over. So I think there's more downside risk there. But there will be value names to sweep up, maybe a couple of the bank stocks. Not sure yet. Energy, if they do pull back, they're probably going to rally tomorrow morning along with oil and gas. So you may not get that pullback with those names. Let's take a look at other reasons why I'm far more concerned about the economy, the markets, than I am about the Ukraine. And to some, it may sound silly because maybe you're watching CNN, you're watching MSNBC, or you're not even watching any news whatsoever. This is Glenn Greenwald, the neoliberal war on dissent in the West. I don't know if anybody's been watching what's happening up in Canada, but it is shockingly reminiscent of a takeover by a communist regime. I'm not being hyperbolic. All you need to do is take a step back and say, well, you have an emergency again. You have a prime minister taking control. And not only that, he's making the emergency tools at the disposal permanent. Permanent. So your freedom to dissent won't be stood for, or else you're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your access to your money and banking. It's already happened. I'm not saying what might happen. This has already taken place. You take a look at Australia, which was the worst to date with the lockdowns and the police, some of these thug cops beating up people. Canada over the weekend, anybody see the photo or the imagery of that poor lady getting trampled by a horse? I mean, these are thugs. Those aren't cops anymore. I'm not saying all cops are bad. I'm saying those that did that are horrible people, and they should be brought to justice. They should be brought to justice for doing what they did. New Zealand, the same thing. These are all the Five Eyes country. And you're seeing it happen here. Biden extends U.S. national emergency over COVID-19. I believe it's every 5 months. He's got to go back, have it renewed. It's renewed. COVID cases are cratering, yet we need a state of emergency. We need emergencies. I'm going to take you back to this imagery here. They need this. They have to have this. They need you to be afraid. Therefore, you need government. So what do these people have in common? Surely there can't be a conspiracy theory here. I've talked about this before. The guy's name is Klaus Schwab, a classic Bond villain of all Bond villains. And he runs the World Economic Forum, founded in the early 1970s. When did Nixon take us off the US dollar? Early 1970s. When did the standard of living in the United States crater like a rock? Beginning in the 1970s, when Nixon took us off the gold standard. So, the World Economic Forum. Who's a member of the World Economic Forum? Joe Biden? Who else? Justin Trudeau? Who else? Mario Draghi? Prime Minister of Italy? Dr. Anthony Fauci? This is just coincidence, though. Don't look here. Don't look here. There's nothing to see here. Go back to watching Dancing with the Stars. They took Gavin Newsom down. Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi. I will share this in the forum for your viewing pleasure. Spread it around, folks. Let's go to some comments. Absolute genius, Rick. Smash that like button. Help me out with the YouTube algorithm. They'll probably pull this show off. I gotta get on Rumble. Buy the invasion. Wow, eye-opening. I work on a Navy base. 3/4 of the security is gone after mandate. Putin knows this. He sees he sees the weakness. We should have another President's Day tomorrow. Those cops in Canada are all tie-dye redcoats. Yeah, you're right. Jackboot thugs. Horrible. Disgraceful. The World Economic Forum's intervention into government policy isn't a conspiracy theory. It's naked fact. Yeah, and you know, those truckers did us all a favor. I mean, what was a conspiracy theory? Notice how conspiracy theories these past few years just keep coming true. They just you got to have people waking up and go, wow, that was a conspiracy theory. Now it's true. So they forced him to go full blown Orwell. They forced him to do it. They turned up the heat on that frog and he jumped. He did exactly what the truckers want. He did exactly what they wanted him to do. Now it's for the people to rise up and say, hey, whoa, we see you. We know what you're doing, salty army fellows out there. I'm still want to salt these lines. We see you. We see you. And the parliament in Canada had better vote this guy down. Because if they do, he's done. He's done as a prime minister. Hopefully they have a vote of no confidence on him and they get rid of him, get new elections, and off to the Dust Bowl of history goes Justin Trudeau. That would be outstanding. That would be a message for the current administration here. Don't try it here. Look to the north to see what happened. But if Parliament doesn't vote this down, it stays in place, guess what? It only emboldens this potato to go for it. You don't think he will? Whoever thought that a sitting president of the United States would mandate that you get a experimental drug and inject it multiple times into your body, and the data that they have, the research data the FDA has, they won't release. They don't want to release it for 75 years. A court told them, you better release it. Think about it. Yeah, Truth Network launched. I was getting ready for the show, and I saw there was a hashtag about Truth Network, and all it was, I don't know whether it was bots or what, hammering Truth Network. And I always warn about this. If they come out with their own technology, you're going to have a lot of it's going to be a big learning curve. It's not going to be overnight that it's going to be up and running. And these people are like, it's doomed. You know, it's just typical moronic nonsense on Twitter. Rumor has it truckers going to shut down D.C. Be great for the State of the Union. Yep. Yes, sir. I have read Schwab's book. They're freely available. Know your enemy. Absolutely. Yeah. And he doesn't hide it. He doesn't hide it. I think isn't it called The Great Reset? You'll own nothing and you'll be happier. F you. F you. Tyranny. It's here. It's here. You got to let them know you see it. And vote. Vote. Okay. Reasons to be a bit bullish short term for a rally. The reason is this. You take a look at the 10-year yield, and we spent the past couple of weeks trying to break out, but ultimately rejected. I suspect that we will gap down tomorrow. So as long as we stay within this trading range of 1.7 to 1.9, I think we could be okay. We could put together, after a nasty sell-off, a vicious short covering rally. So that's why I don't want to go leaning in heavily to the short side. If I see opportunities, I may. My best stocks to watch for the coming week, which is on YouTube. I posted it on Saturday. I went over a bunch of stocks. We're looking to short. Will I get the opportunity this week? I don't know. I'm not going to chase them short. I like the setups going into the weekend, but unfortunately, those setups may be blown by tomorrow morning. I'm going to be looking for opportunities. We're going to be running scans later in the day, and we'll see what's out there. But PayPal, my top pick for the week. Indonesia, one of my top picks. So if yields pull back here, folks, expect a short covering rally in the next few trading days. Bitcoin. The correlation with growth is undeniable. Monthly view. Bitcoin relative to the trip queues trade roughly around 75% of the times. You can see there's been a bit of a divergence of late. The queues have actually been underperforming Bitcoin. I think that's going to change. I think Bitcoin is going to break and break hard to the downside and play catch up with the triple Qs, if not surpass the triple Qs. So if you're seeing Bitcoin as the new gold and gold is going up and you should buy the dip on Bitcoin, I think you're being way too premature. There will be an opportunity. I have a $29,000 price target on it. Others have a lower price target, $25,000 I heard earlier. They could be right. That's subject to change. So that's our initial price target, $29,000 on Bitcoin. But ultimately, I don't see how the behavior of the Canadians robbing people's assets out of their bank accounts, trying to get their crypto wallet IDs so they could steal their crypto. I don't see how this is allowed to persist and how people don't move to a decentralized form of currency. They have to. You're not leaving them a choice. Now, the Dow transports, I've warned for a long time, is your canary in the coal mine for where the direction of the markets are going to be. The transports usually signal bullishness or bearishness first, and then the rest of the market follows suit. Now, we peaked out on the transports back here. I said this back then. It was a blow off top. I couldn't believe the move. I thought it was a bad tick. It was not. This was a blow off top on the transports. A month later, the Tues peaked out, and now they're rolling over. I think this is going to break to the downside even further. This is a monthly chart. The month is not over. For all I know, we could close at all-time highs by the end of the month, but it's highly improbable. Technical analysis is about probabilities, not a crystal ball. The probability of us breaking to new lower lows is far greater than us closing at all-time record highs. So beware of this market, folks. It could drop pretty far. And on Twitter earlier today, I saw, again, I was pulling up information for the stream, and you see this tweet comes by, and the guy has a lot of followers. I forget his name, but he's got all these stocks, DocuSign, Coinbase, all list of these high-tech Momo stocks, and he's like, got down 78%, and he's got the percentage down on each name, and he's like, isn't this a bottom now? I'm like, no, man. No, absolutely not. They can go a lot lower. Many of them may not be around when this is all said and done. So they can go to zero. We've been here before. I've seen it in 2000 to 2002, 2006 to 2009. Watch out for these high beta tech names with no earnings. Please, I beg of you. Quality. You only want to buy quality. Let's do some chart requests. How much time do I have left here? 7 minutes. I got to go to the members area first, see if I got any requests. Rocket Mortgage. Luke. New member Luke. Luke, welcome aboard. Okay. Luke is about to get his first chart request. Okay, so obviously Rocket reports this coming week. You got to be very, very careful. Monthly chart looks good. This is a doji star formation. Obviously, we still have several trading days left to go. A lot can happen here. We could sell off, we could rally, we can be on change. One of the three, I don't know. But as it stands in this snapshot in time, doji star formation, that is a sign of indecision. And there's a possibility that we get a trend reversal. So, looking good. Do we have any heat maps below? No. Let's go to the weekly chart. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's take our crayon out. We'll go to the weekly chart. So you can see the past couple of weeks, we've rallied, which is good. Closed up, which is good. The bad part is that as we rally, sellers move in and they fade the rally. So Let's take a look at where the Stokes are at. Stokes are hooking up now. So what you want to see here on Rocket is a pullback and a retrace back down to 1138. So if we pull back, retest this support level, and it holds, then we can look to open up a position. If it fails to hold it, we either avoid, or if we got long and then it breaks down below that support level, the lows of the week of January the 31st, we are out. Now, if it holds, then we want to add more on a breakout above this upper band of resistance. Now, earnings come out this week. What if they knock the leather off the ball? Shares rally up higher. Do we chase it? No. We wait for the end of the week. We see whether or not did it close above this upper band of resistance. If so, we wait for the following week. We want to see a retest of this long-term, what was resistance, should not be support. Not asking too much. So that would be the game plan with Rocket Mortgage. And it's our classic game plan. Rinse, wash, repeat. Daily chart. The automated trend lines are picking off. Folks, I'm using TrendSpider, 35% discount code below. These are the algorithms providing resistance. Here's my resistance level up here. They're saying a breakout point is right above. It looks pretty good, actually. Interesting. All right. So you could even use this resistance level, but if we gap up and through it, I would nibble, and then wait for a continuation breakout above my manually drawn resistance level, add more, buy strength. And we're good to go. That's Rocket Mortgage. Let's go back to the monthly chart for a moment. I want to bring up a raindrop chart. Yeah, this is looking pretty good on the monthly time frame. I like it. But no rush here. No rush at all. Let it come to you. Let earnings go in the rearview mirror. I would not buy the stock in front of earnings. Now, let's go back. It's a counter trend rally. $13.7 is resistance. They're already fading it. I wonder what you think about meme stocks. I hate them. I think a lot of people, the stock market's a business. If you got to treat it like a business, and I think AMC did the right thing. I think it took them too long to offer that secondary, but ultimately they did the right thing. I don't know if Gamestop did that. I think they may have. If they didn't take advantage of those prices, I think they're crazy. BlackBerry and so on. Now you're repeating so much I wanted to hear. I think that they're, whenever you have the retail investor involved in, Wall Street bets, that's how I knew this was all going to come to an end. It's classic. It's just a new form of the retail investors showing how they're involved in the stock market. The old joke used to be, if you're getting your shoes shined and the shoe shine guy gives you a stock tip, or the taxi cab driver gives you a stock tip, well, then that's the market top. And it happens to be pretty goddamn accurate. So the same old's true for the meme stocks. And when I started hearing diamond hands and YOLO and all this craziness, that's no way to treat this as a business. And it's only a matter of time before you're going to get your head handed to you. So, I know a lot of people made money, and a lot of people let that money go. You got to book your profits to make them real. So I think that those names are finally seeing the law of gravity applied to them. I can't believe GameStop's still above $100 a share. That's fascinating. What's the other one? BB. Think of the poor son of a gun that bought at $28.77, and he's probably still holding because he didn't have the common sense not to buy the rip. And he probably doesn't have the common sense to know when it's over and this is never, ever coming back again. AMC, same thing here. I mean, crazy. So my opinion on meme stocks is that they're done. I mean, they're done. They're not investments. They're vehicles for speculation, and the air's coming out. You're very welcome, RL. Great to have you. 480 shenanigans. Redfin dumped on 20%. Yeah, you got to be careful of those high-tech spec names. RRC, EOG. Earnings this week. Thanks for the information, Paul. You're welcome, Sally. On those names, it's not even worth really going over the charts so much because I worry about people taking what I say as a bullish sign to go into these stocks. And while the charts may look bullish and you may make money, if they break, they're going to break really, really hard, really, really hard. And I don't want to see people lose money. All right, Milai. Mercado Libre. Got to avoid it. If it rallies back to hold 986, 987, it's worth revisiting. But if we close down below that level on this monthly chart, next month you're probably going to see a rally back in an effort to recapture, because you're going to have people thinking, I'm buying the dip, I'm buying the dip. The problem is they're going to rally it back up to what was support here is now going to be resistance. So I would not buy this stock. And if anything, if this rallies back I think I said next week, next month. If it rallies back next month, I'd be looking to short it on a fade. The weekly chart, you don't want to see this. You have a multi-week consolidation in a nice wedge formation. You got a breakout, and all of a sudden, a bearish key reversal bar. That is a vote of no confidence on MELI, Mercado Libre. Daily chart. You got to avoid it. It's going lower. I wouldn't chase it to the short side. I'd wait for that counter trend rally, lean into it. You were seeing it as a short, good. Good eye, yeah. Definitely a short. AA still ripping. Alcoa. Yeah, it looks really good. The only caveat, you got a bunch of resistance up here. So I wouldn't initiate a position if I were long and I was treating it as an intermediate term swing trade or an investment. I'd stay long. Let's take a look at the long-term trend. I mean, very nice. Very nice chart. Alcoa is up near 80. I can't believe that. Wow. Beautiful. It's going up higher. Love it. You're welcome, Donnie. My pleasure, pal. Bob, thanks for another great day. You're very welcome, Franklin. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Folks, thanks for joining in. Please smash that like button. If you're not a member, subscribe, 14-day free trial offer. I release some of my free commentary, premium commentary. If you're not ready for the 14-day free trial offer, I get it. Go back. The prior premium content is now unlocked. It says premium unlocked. Go check it out. I'll probably release another episode from a week ago tonight. I wouldn't use that data to trade off of because it's dated now, but you'll just see. You could say, okay, he said this 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Was he right or was he wrong? And that way you get a feel for whether or not you want to be a member and whether or not it's right for you. And don't forget TrendSpider. You get a 7-day free trial offer, 35% off, and I give it away free to silver and gold level members. So take advantage of it. We're always looking to deliver value. And with that, folks, we got 40 likes. I hope so. That would be great. That would be a great percentage. Please smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, too. Everybody have a great night. And don't worry about the sell-off tomorrow morning. It'll bounce. And be well.